Before spacing was a buzzword, before analytics was a driving force behind every offensive decision, before every team was jacking threes in transition, there was Mike D'Antoni and the 7 seconds or less Suns. From 2004 to 2008, Phoenix didn't just play fast. They redefined what offense could be. With Steve Nash orchestrating, Amar'e Stoudemire sprinting to the rim, and shooters like Joe Johnson and Quentin Richardson flying to the corners, the Suns led the league in pace and posted a then-record 112.7 offensive rating in 2005. But what looked like chaos was actually structure. A system built on quick decision-making, drag screens, transition spacing, and relentless offensive tempo. And even if they never won a title, the entire modern NBA has followed their lead. In this video, we're breaking down the tactics, the reads, and the blueprint that made Phoenix the most influential offense of its era, and why their fingerprints are still all over today's game.
The scoring factor on three. 1, 2, 3, scoring factory.
What's up, everybody? Coach Kevin with the Scoring Factory, back with episode 5 of our breakdown series. Today, we're talking about the 7 seconds or less Suns, and let's get right into it. The 7 seconds or less label wasn't just marketing. It was a mindset. Mike D'Antoni didn't believe in calling sets every possession. He believed in trusting great players to make quick decisions with space. The faster the ball moved, the worse the defense became. Simple math. The mission was clear: attack before the defense is set. If the break wasn't there, flow into something. Don't stop the ball. The first thing we're going to be talking about today is the primary break. The primary break is what happens right after a defensive rebound. For the Suns, after a defensive rebound was collected, there was an immediate outlet pass and they were on the move. What you'll see in a lot of these Suns transition breaks is a wing that is sprinting wide and a big that is either looking to rim run or set a drag screen in transition for Nash. What this did was it gave Steve Nash a ton of options when running the break and allowed him to find both shooters, rolling bigs, or go to the hoop and score for himself. So as we move into our next clip, Nash has his eyes up as soon as he gets the ball. And what you'll find is another wing who was sprinting wide. We had a big who was rim running and a third wing who is in the other corner. This gives Nash a ton of space to operate and a lot of options to move the ball. The Suns' goal in transition was to beat defenses to the hoop for easy dunks and layups. They knew that pitching the ball ahead was one of the most efficient ways to do this. Steve Nash was one of the best in the game at keeping his eyes up as soon as he got the outlet pass, and his teammates knew that if they could beat their defender down the floor or seal them under the hoop, they could get easy layups. Some defenses countered this by not sending as many guys on the offensive glass and prioritizing getting back. This meant that the Suns had to flow into their secondary break. If the primary break didn't result in a bucket, the Suns immediately flowed into their secondary break, which was characterized by drag screens. Now, at their core, all that drag screens are a screen that is being set in transition. So here we can see the screen being set for Steve Nash. What this does is that it prevents the defense from setting up any of their typical ball screen coverage and makes it harder to guard. Now, this action is very popular in today's modern NBA, and the Suns even experimented with something known as a double drag screen. In today's NBA, this is sometimes known as 77, which just multiplies the confusion on defense and can force switches that defense does not want to employ. Now, the Suns were also not afraid to use guard-to-guard action early on in their offense. So, whether that's Steve Nash getting a pick and roll from Shawn Marion or Steve Nash giving a handoff that led to a pick and roll, this was something that the Suns also were known for using. Now, just because the 7 seconds or less Suns were mostly known for their transition, that doesn't mean that Mike D'Antoni didn't also have a variety of half-court sets and series that he used on a regular basis. And that's what we're going to dive into next. One of D'Antoni's favorite half-court series is known as his through series, where Steve Nash gives the ball, or any point guard, gives the ball up and cuts through the middle and then loops back out and receives a screen on the empty side. This allows a ton of freedom. Nash can curl this screen depending on how the defense plays it. Nash also has the ability to then come up off the screen and receive a handoff. In this case, we see this from a different player, but the same concept, that curl. Here's the instance where we see Nash come up and receive a handoff. This, in today's NBA, is known as zoom, any pin down that leads to a handoff from the guard. It's not just restricted to Nash getting the screen. Nash can also receive the screen. In this clip, we see Nash set a screen, still go get the ball, get a re-screen, which then leads to a bucket. Again, because the screen is being set on an empty side, it gives a ton of options. In this clip, we see the screen turned into a flare. In this next clip, what we'll see is Nash end up setting the screen because they're ready for Nash to come off of a screen. What this leads to, the next wrinkle that they add. Here is our zoom action with an off-ball flare screen. This is another staple of the D'Antoni half-court offense, these off-ball flare screens. Again, we have our zoom action that is popular today with a flare for a three. This allows a ton of different wrinkles to be added into this offense with any kind of off-ball screening. It takes away tag defenders from the initial screen, and it gives another option for Nash as he comes off the screen because there are flares, there are pin downs being set on the weak side. The 7 seconds or less Suns weren't just an amazing offense. They were the future, played 20 years early. Today's Pacers, Celtics, Rockets under D'Antoni all pull from this blueprint. Early offense, drag screens, 5-out spacing, run and gun transition, and most importantly, freedom to play. The 7 seconds or less Suns didn't just run. They shifted the league permanently. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. Follow us on our social medias at The Scoring Factory, and I will see everybody in the next video.